everyone, this is Tamara, your courtroom companion, and in today's video I'm going to talk about the 3 keys to selecting the right people to serve as witnesses in your custody trial. Before we get started, please do hit that subscribe button and the bell notification so you will be notified when I upload my weekly or my bi-weekly videos. Alright, let's jump right in. So I've had 3 custody trials in which I had to identify witnesses who would come and speak on my behalf. And oftentimes those people are considered like character witnesses, which is true. They are people that are going to come and speak about your character. And those people should have direct knowledge about you and your custody situation. And when you have people come and act as character witnesses for you, they sort of have a bias, an inherent bias, because the judge is already going to know that they're going to come and speak great things about you, which is good. I think that it's important to have 1 or 2 character witnesses that will come and speak about you as a parent, you as a human being, just your overall personality, and just talk really well about you. And the judge expects that, and it's important that you have those people there for you. But in my experience, it's important to not just have people that will come and speak about how great you are, but it's important to also have people who can come and provide direct knowledge about your case around areas where you might need support. Also remember that when you are selecting witnesses for your trial, that each one will take time away from your trial. Meaning if you have a 1-day trial and you have 4 witnesses, those 4 witnesses are going to take time to provide their testimony. So their direct testimony is when your attorney asks them questions, and then they'll be cross-examined by the other opposing party's attorney. So they'll take time away from, the rest of the time that you have in your trials. You have to be really careful about the number of witnesses that you want to have. If you have a 3-day trial, you might be able to have more witnesses than you would be able to have if you just have a 1-day trial. So just be mindful of the number of people that are going to come and testify for you, because your trial time is considered prime time. So do you want to use that prime time in front of a judge with your witnesses, or perhaps with you giving your own testimony? So just be mindful and definitely seek advice from your attorney about the number of witnesses that he or she thinks that you should have given your certain set of facts in your case, and they'll guide you in that area. So in my case, because I've had 3 different trials, I've learned a lot about selecting the right kinds of witnesses. And I wanted to provide to you 3 keys that I've learned over time that will maybe make it more easier for you to identify the right witnesses for your case. So key number 1 is understanding the purpose of witnesses. You want people, in addition to maybe 1 or 2 character witnesses, again, depending on the time you've been given by your court system for your trial, you'll want to have at least 1 person talk about how wonderful you are as a parent. Maybe testify about your strong work ethic or something like that. But you're also going to want to have at least 1 or 2 people come and testify about certain facets of your case. So, for example, if you have domestic violence as part of your set of circumstances, perhaps the other parent committed domestic violence against you, you might want one of your witnesses to be someone who actually saw it take place, or maybe took you to the emergency room afterwards. Someone that's going to have very direct knowledge about your case. Another example could be if your children are involved in activities, and while the children are in your care, you get them to their games and their practices, but when they're with the other parent, the children don't make it to their activities, their games or their practices, and so you might want to have a coach come and testify. Now, the coach can't testify about your custody calendar, but what they can testify about is, here are all the times that the children were absent. And then maybe your attorney can look at your custody calendar and compare it and show the judge that every time, or most times when the children are with the other parent, they don't go to their activities. So that person will have direct knowledge about your children's attendance at activities. Another example might be that the children do not complete homework when they're with the other parent. Now that one will be a little bit harder to prove because sometimes teachers give assignments on Monday and they're not due till Thursday or something. So it'd be a much harder thing to say or prove that the other parent isn't doing homework. But perhaps you have emails where the parent refused to allow them to do homework or something like that. So I just want to give you those examples of, like, you want people to come and testify about certain facets of your case that your attorney might want to highlight in front of the judge. And what you're trying to show is that, maybe perhaps you're the parent that maybe the children should be with. I guess that's what most of us are fighting for when we go to court, is that, that our children are in the best place possible. And so if you have people in your life that can testify about certain facets of your case, I would definitely recommend that those people be the people that you bring to court. Key number 2 is to identify those people who are good under pressure. So once you've done key number 1, which is who are, out of all the people in my life, who are the people that can testify about certain parts of my case that my attorney wants to highlight. And then key number 2 is to look at those people and say who might be best under pressure. And if you have 2 or 3 people that witness domestic violence in your situation, you choose the one that would be best under pressure, in your opinion. If it's just one person, obviously, that has direct knowledge about a certain situation and not multiple people, then it'll be easy. You just select that one person. But if there are multiple people, you want to choose those people who you think would be best under pressure, who don't get nervous, who don't have anxiety issues. And if you're not sure, you can always, just do a practice run with them and ask them questions and, swear them in, as a mock swear in, have them testify about certain parts of your case just to see how they do. And then you can kind of go from there. Key number 3 is the character of those witnesses. So when they're up there testifying on your behalf, the opposing party will, try to, ruin the person's character who's up there. They might, dig in their past and see what kind of situations they have in their past that they can bring up. There are some examples of things you want to look at when you're trying to determine who has, good character that can come and testify for you. Think about, do they have, any do they have a criminal background? Do they have a good job? Are they good parents themselves? So those are just some examples to think about. You don't want to bring someone who can't hold a job, has had multiple charges against them for various reasons, or they, they've had kids taken away from them in the past. So those are not the people you want to bring to kind of support your case. So just make sure that your witnesses have solid character as well. So those were the 3 keys to selecting the right witnesses. So you have to know their purpose, you want to make sure they're good under pressure, and you want to make sure they have solid characters themselves. But I also wanted to give you another piece of very critical information that I learned along the way. And that is that when you're asked to put your witness list together, you want to include everyone that's possible. So let's say you have, let's talk about that domestic violence again. If you have 3 or 4 people that have direct knowledge about your domestic violence issue, not, someone told someone, but I mean direct knowledge, either they saw it or took you to the hospital or something like that, you can put all 3 or 4 of those people on the witness list. You want to put everyone that's possible, because that list has to be submitted way in advance of you actually going to court. When it gets right down to it, you will have to select from that list, because you're not going to have 20 people come and testify. You'll have to narrow it down to, again, 1, 2, 3, or 4, depending on how long your trial is. But one thing that I think is really important about that list is that if you're hoping to settle, in other words, if you're hoping to not have your custody case go to trial, and you want to kind of settle things out with the other parent, and they've been obstinate about that up to that point, when they get your witness list, they might stand back and go, oh my gosh, I didn't know all these people might come and testify. If this person comes and testifies, I might lose my kids, or they might bring up a situation I don't want the judge to know about, and they might be more apt to settle once they get your witness list. So I'm not saying that use the witness list to put fear, but it's more like put everyone that's possible so that that other parent knows that you mean business. You want to settle, but if they're not going to, then you're not going to hold back. And so it could be used in a way that kind of puts the other parent on notice that, let's settle this thing outside of court. That's if you want to. Some cases you don't want to do that. In my case, I would have hoped to have settled, but that wasn't going to be the situation in my case. But, use your witness list as a way to put that other parent on notice that you are not going to hold back. Let me give you an example of how that might look. Let's say the other parent has a bunch of kids by other people, and they're not taking care of those other kids, but they want custody of the children that you all have together. You could put on your witness list all those other people that have children with this person. And if that person sees all those names on the witness list, he's going to understand, or she's going to understand, that you could possibly bring these people to the court as your witness, and testify about you not taking care, that other parent not taking care of the kids. And so that's going to put them on notice. Or if your children's other parent has a domestic violence charge in the past, you might put on your witness list the person who they committed that act against. So do you see what I mean? That witness list is like, you're not holding back anything. If you're going to trial for custody, that is the time to lay it out on the line, because what you're trying to show the judge is, this is our situation. This is his past or her past, and it all needs to come to light. Because if you're going to a custody trial, what you're basically saying is, Mr. or Mrs. Judge, we need you to make a decision about our family. And so you're trying to put it all out on the table so that they can make the best decision that they can. And again, it doesn't mean that just because they're on your witness list that means they're going to come. It's just that your witness list has to include every possible witness that you might have, and you can't add to it once it's submitted. At least I don't think you can. I never was able to. But then at some point you do have to kind of narrow it down and figure out who you're going to select, and then those witnesses will be the people that come and testify on your behalf. Well, I hope you found this video helpful. I know that when I was creating my witness list, I wasn't sure who to put on there, so hopefully this would be helpful to you when you're creating your witness list. And if you have experience about witnesses and some lessons learned about them, our community would love to hear about it in the comments below, so please do comment. We do appreciate the feedback, and all of our community is looking to learn from one another. Take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.